Well, hello Birmingham! Hello Birmingham! Much better. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our Reform Conference 2024. Well, I'm Dr. David Bull, and it's my great pleasure to be your host today. I'm delighted to welcome everyone joining us on our live stream from around the world, and of course our audience here at the NEC in Birmingham. Yes, 4,000 of you. Well, now let's move to pressing matters. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine, if you will, a country where we allow pensioners to freeze in their own homes, where we steal the winter fuel allowance off 10 million pensioners, leaving them worse off. This is a country where we already allow 5,000 people to die every single year because they cannot afford to turn their heating on. This is, by the way, all whilst the Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, claims £4,400 towards her own energy bills from the public purse, whilst her Labour cronies, yes, her Labour cronies similarly claim more than £400,000 of taxpayer money without a shred of embarrassment. Now, also, imagine a country where we plan to penalise people for being widowed or for being single by removing the single-person council tax discount. Imagine a country that robs people of aspiration and hard work. A country where we have 9 million economically inactive people and 5 million people on out-of-work benefits. And yet, we still allow 750,000 people to come to this country legally every single year. Imagine a government that thinks it's okay to tax your already taxed income at eye-watering levels when you die, robbing your families of their hard-earned inheritance. Imagine a country where we put 23,000 illegal immigrants before our own citizens, whilst at the same time failing to support veterans who have fought for this country. As you know, I'm a doctor by training. Let me tell you, this country, the National Health Service, is on its knees. We have 20 million people waiting for medical care currently, 7.76 million people waiting to see a specialist, 11.3 million people waiting for onward care. This is a country where more than 10 million people have been waiting at least a month just to see their GP. Now, this is the same NHS that politicians claim is world-leading. Well, the reality is our cancer survival rates are 15 years behind other major countries. Now, this is the same country, you will remember, where after 22 months of junior doctor strikes, 1.5 million operations and appointments have been cancelled, and the cost to you, to the taxpayer, to us, is £3 billion. Now, this sounds really far-fetched, actually. It sounds horrific. But this, ladies and gentlemen, is reality. This is Starmer's Britain. And it shouldn't be this way. So what has the government actually done about it? Well, the government's response is to give inflation-busting pay rises to the union paymasters without any sense of reform taking place. This, in my view, is abhorrent and it's morally indefensible. £10 billion of your cash has been given to the unions that control Labour. The junior doctors, well, they've been given a walloping 22% pay rise, and yet they refuse to rule out further strike action, further endangering patients' lives. Now, even the government's own report, written by Professor Ara Darzi, says the NHS is in a critical condition. His words, he says the NHS must reform or die. Well, I'll tell you what, Professor Darzi, I could have told you that because I wrote it in our reform report, which was published 2 years ago. And yet, Ara's report, by the way, and Professor Darzi, who taught me, by the way, his report is woefully lacking in detail about how the system should be reformed. The picture I paint, ladies and gentlemen, is of broken Britain. We are a national and international embarrassment. And make no mistake, Labour is a threat to this country. But with every threat comes an opportunity, and this is our opportunity. We are the newest political party in the United Kingdom, and we are only 4 years old. We were formed after our triumphant success as the Brexit Party. We're led so brilliantly by Nigel. We achieved what was said to be unachievable, and that was to leave the European Union. I was actually there. I was there in the European Parliament with my colleagues when we voted for that final time. And we thought we had actually achieved Brexit. But once again, the mainstream political parties conspired against us and betrayed the British public, and they betrayed you. Now, as a party, from a standing start, I think you will agree we had an astonishing general election. I just will recap. A brand new party. We came third in terms of vote share. We won 14% of the votes cast. We won 4.1 million votes. By any metric, that is an extraordinary feat. And yet, due to our insane electoral system, that vote, 4.1 million votes, only translated into 5 members of Parliament. The Liberal Democrats, however, got a lower vote share than us, but due to the inherent unfairness of the system, they managed to get 72 members of Parliament. But do not be downhearted, because this is only the beginning for us. This was always going to be a 10-year plan. We are the fastest growing political party in the United Kingdom. And it is believed we are now the fastest growing political party ever seen in British history. Now, we have over 80,000 members, which is just short of what the Conservative Party has got. But remember, the Conservative Party was formed in 1834, and we were formed in 2020. Now, this is conference season, and this week the national newspapers have predicted this year's Conservative Party conference will be a disaster. Businesses are expected to cancel their attendance at the conference this year in unprecedented numbers, which means this year's Tory event is on track to be the least popular in living memory, or in short, as one commentator said in a newspaper, it's going to be a wake. But you see, our conference couldn't be more different. This conference is the polar opposite. I told you, we've never had so many delegates here at our conference, and this really is the Reform Party. But make no mistake, the hard work really does start now. This is when we plan to rebuild Britain, because Britain needs reform.